जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava जय श्रीनाथ जी जय गोपाल जी जय श्रीनाथ जी जय गोपाल जी जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल Saturday morning Bhagavatam class. First of all, I would thank the temple management for giving me this opportunity. Although completely unqualified, the temple management is so merciful to give me, person like me, the opportunity to speak and serve all of you. And I pray to Sri Radha Madhav Srinathji and Laddu Gopal and Srila Prabhupada that right words come at the right time and right spirit. Thank you everyone again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayamudiraye. Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Devaki Nandanaya cha. Devaki Nandanaya cha. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Govindaya Namo Namaha. I speak, I'd like to take the blessings of all the senior devotees and all the Vaishnavas present here. Vanshakal Patarubhyashcha Kripasindhubhyo Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo. शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त भीष्णशः शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त भीष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तावकम् त एव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तावकम् भव प्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त भीष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकम् भव प्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम् गायन्ति गृह्णन्त भीष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकम् भव प्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्. On the side.
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त्यभीक्षणशः.
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति
तवेहितं जनाः
स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः
पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकम्
तदेव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तावकम्
बाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्.
Yes.
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त्यभीक्षकाः
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति
गृह्णन्तभीक्षणशः.
स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः
स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः.
एव पश्यन्त अचिरेण तावकम्
एव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तावकम्.
भवप्रभाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्
प्रभाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्. शृण्वन्ति hear, गायन्ति chant, गृह्णन्ति take, अभीक्ष्णशः continuously, स्मरन्ति remember, नन्दन्ति take pleasure, तव your, इहितं activities, जनाः people in general, ते they, एव certainly, पश्यन्ति can see, अचिरेण very soon, तावकं your, भवप्रवाह the current of river, uparamam the station, padambujam lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Desi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
O Krishna,
O Krishna,
those who continuously hear,
those who continuously hear
chant and repeat your
and repeat your
transcendental activities
transcendental activities
or take pleasure
or take pleasure
in others doing so,
doing so,
certainly see your
particularly your
lotus feet,
lotus feet,
which alone
which alone
can stop the
stop the
repetition of birth and death.
repetition of birth and death.
Someone can read the purport. It's long purport, but then divide.
The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life full of spontaneous love of God. And Sri Krishna was personally present on the peak of the globe. Not everyone could see him as the supreme personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of God. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. The necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with thinking about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literature which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that first item, Shravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualification, but because they do not follow the principle of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker, and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other process become automatically perfect in their own way.
There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings, with the Asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as with his married wives at Dwarika, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So, a bona fide speaker of the uh, dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearing. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scripture, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to divide our lost relation with him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential.
ॐ अज्ञातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामे गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you again for joining. So we've been discussing from the prayers of Queen Kunti, Canto 1, Chapter 8, and the starting verse is like 18. From there we're starting. Now we are in 36 verse. So we have been learning that there are 3 P's in Srimad Bhagavatam. What are they? One is philosophy, second P, pastimes, and third, prayers. Exactly. So that is what we are discussing now. Queen Kunti's prayers. So we know that there are so many prayers. These are the stuti, translated in Sanskrit is stuti, throughout the Bhagavatam. In this 8th chapter, 1st canto, we have Kunti stuti. In 9th chapter, we have Bhishma stuti. In 4th canto, we have Dhruva Maharaj prayers. In 6th, we have Chitrakat Maharaj prayers. In 7th, we have Prahlad Maharaj prayers. In 8th, we have 8th canto, we have Gajendra stuti. Like that, we have so many stutis. We can learn the mood from these prayers. So now we will do a recap of the verses that we have been doing for the last few weeks now. Starting from the 18th verse where Kunti Maharani started her prayers. Okay, I'll just recite the verse and give is one-liner recap or something like that. Okay, and then we'll go to the discussion of the 36th verse. Kuntya uvacha namasye purusham tvadyam ishwaram praकृतेश्वरम अलक्ष्यम सर्वभूतानां अंतर्बहिरवस्थितम. Kunti Maharani, before saying anything, first thing she's doing is she's offering the obeisances. And what she's saying, Purusham tvadyam, you are the original person. Ishwaram praकृतेश्वरम, you are the supreme controller and you are beyond these material modes. Alaksham, meaning that you are not visible. Sarvabhutanam antarbahiravastitam. Even though you are living inside and outside every living entity, not everyone can see you. Maya Javarikachannam Ajnadokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshase Mudha Drisha Natu Natyadharo Yatha. You are covered by a curtain of delusion energy, so people cannot see you. Na Lakshase meaning people cannot see. And who cannot see? Mudha. Who are people who are foolish, they cannot see you. But who can see? That is there in next verse. तथा परमहंसानां मुनीनां अमलात्मनां भक्ति योग विधानार्थम कथम पश्येम हि स्त्रियः. What Kunti Maharani is saying, you make yourself visible to learned advanced transcendentalists, muninam amalatmanam paramahamsanam. These are the people you are visible to, only they can see you. And what do you do? Bhakti yoga vidhanartham. You actually teach the principles of bhakti yoga to all these people. Katham pashyema hi striyah. I am just a simple woman. What can I understand? I cannot see you. But actually she is saying that we will see in the next verses. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that even though she says Katham Pashyema hi Striya, meaning I am a simple woman, how can I understand? I'm foolish. But actually Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that actually Kunti Maharani is the most intelligent woman. Further she says, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraya. Kunti Maharani is specifically calling out to Krishna. Someone may say, okay, Krishna, there may be many people with that name. Now it is said Vasudevaya, who is the son of Vasudeva, and Devaki. Vasudevaya, Devaki. Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa Kumara, who is the son of Maharaj Nanda, Govindaya Namo Namaha. And Govinda is who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. So specifically Kunti Maharani is calling out to Krishna, and she is also giving obeisances to Krishna. Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraya. You see this word Pankaja. There are two words common in 4 lines. One is Namaha, one is Pankaja. Namaha meaning I pay obeisances to you, and Pankaja is lotus. Always it is seen in all the scriptures that Lord is compared with the lotus. Right? Lotus feet, lotus eyes, lotus hands, everything lotus. Why? Because it is said that if we go to spiritual world and see Krishna face to face, we will actually wonder, we compared Krishna with a lotus. It's so low when compared to Krishna. It is not at all beautiful when compared to Krishna, but it is the best thing that we have in this world. It is so soft and it is so nice in this world that we compare it with Krishna. So it is the best thing in this world. But when we see Krishna, we understand that lotus is nowhere near to Krishna in terms of beauty. And I want to also, when we are doing this recap, I want to also draw some parallels to Bhagavad Gita and maybe Bhagavatam itself when we are trying to understand these verses. So if we go to the verses of Bhagavad Gita, we see Manmanabho Madbhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru. There also Krishna is saying you should become a devotee, you should pay obeisances, Namaskuru. Right? There are the same 2 lines are there in 2 verses, 9.34 and 18.65. Manmanabho Madbhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru. Okay. Further, यथा ऋषिकेश खलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं सचारपिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपद्गण विशान् महाग्ने पुरुषाद दर्शनात् असत्सभाया वनवासकृच्छतः मृधे अनेक महारथास्ततो द्रोण्यस्त्रतश्चाश्म हरेभिरक्षितः. So the first thing, when we come in front of Krishna, we directly start asking, okay, Krishna, give me this, give me that. We actually come with a list of things that we want Krishna to give us. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is not our order supplier. He is not that. But if we see Kunti Maharani, we'll see what actually she's asking for. But before asking what she wants, she's actually remembering what all Krishna has already done. That means she's actually paying the gratitude for what all Krishna has already done for her. So she's saying, Yatha Hrishikesha Khalena Devaki. You have saved Devaki and me and my sons from so many dangers. And in the next verse, Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshana, she actually mentions all the situations one by one. Vishan is when the poison was given to Bhima. Mahagne is the Lakshagriha, the lakh house was put on fire. Purushada Darshanat, when, from the cannibal, which is Hidimba, Asat Sabhaya, meaning the vicious assembly where Draupadi was trying to be disrobed. Vanavasa Krichataha, in the exile when they went for 12, 13 years. Krishna saved them. Mridhe, again and again, what did he do? Aneka Maharathas, so from so many great generals in battle. And Draunyastratas, the recent incident that happened, which is the Brahmastra that Drauni is Ashwathama. So he released the Brahmastra and you saved him. So Kunti Maharani is trying to recall every situation, every place where actually Krishna saved them and her and the sons. So that's how we should do. When we come in front of Krishna, it is said that okay, we should ask for liberation, we should go back to God and all that. Even if we are asking for material desire, the first thing when we come in front of God is first we should pay obeisances. I think as guys Purushottam Prabhu has explained how what is the etiquette. First we will pay obeisance to Srila Prabhupada and then we'll come here and then pay dandavats. And then after that, when we start praying, even if we are asking for something material, that this is the first thing that we should actually thank Krishna for what all Krishna has done for us. Right? The next verse is Vipada Santu Dashashwa Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yasyat Apunar Bhava Darshanam. Kunti Maharani is asking Krishna Vipada Santu Dashashwa Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. All these problems, that challenges that we face, let them come again and again in my life. If that is what means that if that actually causes us to see you again and again, let them come again and again. That because we will see you again and again. Seeing you meaning we will not see this repeated birth and death again. Apunarbhava darshanam. Janmaishwarya Shuta Shribhir Edhamana Madhapuman Naiharjati Avidatum Vai Twam Akinchana Gocharam. These four things, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri. Janma is birth, Aishwarya is wealth, Shruta is education, Shri is beauty. These four things, when people have too much in quantity, and when they have that pride of actually possessing this, they cannot feelingly call Krishna. Twam Akinchana Gocharam. Naivarjati Avidatum Vai. They cannot call Krishna with feeling. And who can call? Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nibrata Gunavrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Patena. People who have nothing but Krishna, they may possess or not possess all these opulences that we just discussed, Janmaishwarya Shuta Shri, right? But when they believe that we have only Krishna, we have only Krishna's protection, we have Krishna is our only friend, when they believe completely, and that's when actually they can call feelingly and Krishna will actually help them. Contrary to this, there is a verse from the Puranas, Tulsi Dala Matrena, Jalasya Chulukenava, Vikrinite Swamatmanam, Bhaktevyo Bhakta Vatsala. Meaning that Tulsi Dala Matrena, if we just offer a Tulsi leaf, Tulsi Dala Matrena, Jalasya Chulukenava, Jala is some water. Vikrinite Swamatmanam, Bhaktevyo Bhakta Vatsala. He will sell himself to the devotee who does this. If someone can offer these two things, just tulsi leaf and water with devotion, then Krishna will sell himself to them. But with the other thing that we just discussed, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, whoever has this pride, with these things we cannot buy Krishna. But it is said, Tulsi Dala Matrena Jalasya Chulukena, with Tulsi and water, we can actually buy Krishna. That is what is written. Manye Tvam Kalamishanam Anadi Nidhanam Vibhum. Okay, before we go for this, there is another verse from Bhagavad Gita, something similar. Yeah, exactly. Patram Pushpam Kalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Parhatam Ashnami Prayatatmana. Patram Pushpam Kalam Toyam. Leaf, water, root, and Patram Pushpam Kalam Toyam. Root, water, leaf, yeah. So these four things, if we can offer, we don't need big things that, okay, you should offer these, chapan bhog and all this. If we can offer these four things with love, Krishna will actually accept that. Nyetvam kalavishanam anadi nidhanam vibhum samam charantam sarvatra bhutanam yan mithakali. न वेद कश्चित् भगवं चिकीर्षितं तवेह मानस्य नृणां विडम्बनं न यस्य कश्चित् दयितोऽस्ति करेचित् द्वेष्टस्य यस्मिन् विषमामतिर्नृणम्. These two verses are saying that Krishna is not partial to anyone, samam charantam sarvatra. And then you see here, na yasya kaschit daidosti karhichit dveshtasya yasmin vishamamatirnana. He is not partial to anyone. And even in Bhagavad Gita we see samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho astina priyaha. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. So it is not that Krishna is partial to anyone, but what he does is how the level of he reciprocates on the level of surrender that the devotee has. That's all. If a person is 90% surrendered, so in that way Krishna will actually reciprocate with him in love. If someone is 100%, then Krishna will take care 100% of the devotee. जन्म कर्म च विश्वात्मन अजस्या कर्तुरात्मनः तिर्यन ऋषिषु यादशु तत् अत्यंत विडम्बनम. Vidambanam, we saw this word in the previous verse as well. Vidambanam is bewildering. It is so bewildering that your birth and death, sorry, death meaning appearance and disappearance basically, that it is so misleading because you take human-like form. Rishishu yadashu. You take the form of aquatics. You take, you become an animal, maybe like, or you become human, you become a sage. It is all bewildering. गोप्याददे त्वयि कृतागसिदामताव याते दशाशु कलिलाञ्जन संभ्रमाक्षम् वक्त्रं निनीय भावनया स्थितस्य सा मां विमोहति अपि यद्बिभेति. And this is what we are going through right now, that the Damodar month. And this verse Kunti Maharani is saying that it is so bewildering that you, who is the supreme, you are afraid of Yashoda, your mother, Gopi, it is mentioned here, who is trying to tie you to the grinding water. There is one other verse in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 42nd verse. Madbhayad vati vatoyam suryas tapati madbhayad varshatindro dahatyagnir mrutyuscharati madbhayad. Meaning that Krishna is saying in this verse, the sun shines due to the fear of me, and the Varshat Indro, meaning the Indra sends rain due to the fear of me. Dahati Agnir, the fire burns due to the fear of me, and Mrutyus Charati Madbhaya, meaning that the death kills because of the fear of me. So everything is working under Krishna's direction. So everything is fearful of you, but you are fearful of Yashoda. That's why it said Vimohayati, meaning it is Vidambanam, and it is bewildering that you are fearful, your pastimes are so bewildering in this way. And in next 4 verses, which His Grace Shivanka Krishna Prabhu explained last week, the four verses, Kunti Maharani is explaining why Krishna appears in this world. Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye yado priyasvannavaye malayasya vachandanam. Meaning, Krishna, you appear in this world to please your devotees like Yadu. You want to glorify your devotees, that's why you appear in his dynasty, which is Yadu Vamsha, we say, right? So that's why you appear. Apare vasudevasya devakyam yachitobhyagat ajastvam asya kshemaya vadhaya cha suradvisha. Some others say that you appear because Devaki and Vasudeva did so many austerities and actually prayed for you to appear. You appear for their pleasure, and you also you also appear to kill the demons. Vadhaya cha suradvisham. Sura is the demigods. Suradvisham is who are envious of the demigods, who are demons. So to kill the demons, you actually appear in this world. The next verse is Bharavata Ranayanye Bhuvo Nava Ivo Dadhav Chitandya Bhuri Bharena Jato Hyatma Bhuvartita. Actually, Brahma prayed for you to appear so that you can relieve the burden of the earth. And that's why you appear here in this world. And some people say like that. And bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabhi shravana smaranarhani karasyan iti kechana. People are so ignorant in this world, and then they have so many desires which do not benefit them, and they do so much activities which actually entangle people to this world. So to deliver that and to rejuvenate the processes of Shravana, Smarana, and Arhani. Shravana is hearing, Smarana is remembrance, and Arhani is worship. So to revive these processes in this world and to deliver all these people, you appear in this world. In the last class, this where Shivanga Krishna Prabhu explained that the levels of the aspects of Krishna's appearance, how we can understand. The first level was from Bhagavad Gita, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glalir Bharata, Paritrana Sadhuna Vinashaya Duskatam. And second is this, whatever we see in these verses to revive these processes and to give the Shravana, Sparana, Rahani. And then we also discuss the next level from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, why Krishna appears to understand what Radharani's mood is. So that's why Krishna took this word. Having understood this recap, we will go to the today's verse. शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृणन्त वीक्ष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जना त एव पश्यन्त चिरेण तावकं भवप्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्. There are four main topics in this verse. Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Smaranti, and Nandanti. Shrinvanti is hearing, Gayanti is chanting, Kirtan, Smaranti is remembering the Lord, and Nandanti. Nandanti is taking pleasure in our bhakti and giving Krishna and taking pleasure in others' bhakti as well. That is Nandanti. So we will discuss these four aspects or topics in detail. The first thing is hearing. There is this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. So this is the first thing. To do anything, to love a person, to understand the greatness of a person, we should first hear. And now, for each of these processes, we have a representative. For hearing, who can we think of if we Parikshit Maharaj, yeah. And that's how all this Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. When he was cursed to be, that he will be dead in 7 days, the first thing he did was he retired from all his worldly activities and then he went to the bank of Ganges and then he started hearing from Shukadeva Goswami. So we will understand how we should hear, what we should hear, and when we should hear, and what happens if we hear continuously from the scriptures. So what we should hear is just in this verse, you see, in this verse, show the verse please. In the second line, you see Smaranti Nandanti Tave Hitam. Tava Hitam is activities. Tava is yours. Tava Hitam means your activities. That's what we should hear. We should hear about Krishna's activities. Even in Bhagavad Gita 4.9 it is said, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattah tyaktva deham punarjanma naitimam eti sodhana. Whoever understands my birth and activities will actually not take birth again in this material world. That's what Krishna is saying. And where should we hear? From whom we should hear? This is very, very important to understand. Without this, even in this purport, Prabhupada has, even though there are four aspects in this, Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Smaranti, and Nandanti, if you see, Srila Prabhupada has focused only on hearing. Because this is the first thing, and actually this will decide on what level, with what intensity we will do all the rest of the things. That's why if you see, Prabhupada has focused only on hearing and from whom we should hear. In Bhagavad Gita 4.1 and 4.2, Krishna says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivaswan manave praha manurikshva kave pravi evam parampara praptam imam rajarsho yogahu. Parampara. This is where we should hear from. In the scriptures it is written that we should hear from parampara. It's not that you just we just go open YouTube and then you say Bhagavad Gita and then we hear from anyone. It is not that. In the scriptures it is given, we should hear from these four paramparas. What are the four paramparas? Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Kumara Sampradaya. And which Sampradaya do we come in? Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. That's where we should hear. It is not just this. Even if you see, at least in India, I don't know how it works here in education. If you want to join a college, if you want to study, say, engineering or whatever it is, we actually see, okay, which college we should study. Is it recognized by the government? There it is AICT. So, is it approved by AICT? Is it accredited by NBA? We see all this. For our material education, if we are seeing all this, for our spiritual education, if we want to learn about the scriptures, it is not that we open YouTube or any other platform and search for Bhagavad Gita and whatever comes up, we will see. It's not like that. We will see whatever comes in our bona fide parampara that is given by the scriptures. And when should we hear? How frequently? We just read this verse in our prayers, Nashta Prayesh Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. And Prabhupada actually translate this as regularly. So Nityam, literal meaning of Nityam is always. Yeah, but we cannot always do it. So at least we should make a habit to hear every day. We should put a schedule. Okay, every day when I complete my chanting, okay, I'll hear this much. So say, for example, half an hour every day, or you cannot hear every day, at least weekly, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever we can do, we should try to hear, because this is the most important process that will decide how we do all the other processes like chanting and remembrance and everything. Once, some group of professors went to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and they said, we want to ask you some questions. And then he said, okay, you can ask. So he took them to a garden. There was this gardener, Mali. So he said, okay, he said to them, so this person, the gardener, will answer all your questions. They said, okay, we came here to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We have questions for you. And he said, it's okay. You first ask him. If you're not satisfied, then we will see. Then they started asking questions. These professors from, I think, some University of Calcutta or something from there. They have started asking questions, and then all their questions were answered. They were bewildered how a person who is doing gardening can answer such high level questions. And then they actually asked him, so how is it that you know so much? You were able to answer each and every question of ours. He responded that my Guru Maharaj has given me only two things to do. One, whenever I'm not doing gardening, I'll go, whenever the lecture is happening, I will go in front of him and hear whatever he's saying. It's been so many years I've learned, so I know all these things. So that is the power of hearing. People are thinking, okay, how a gardener can actually answer whatever answers they were expecting from a scholar like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that is the power of hearing. And then there are a couple verses from the Bhagavatam that actually explain what is the result of hearing. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhakti Rutpajyate Pumsa Shoka Moha Bhayapa. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Srinavatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Kridantasto, Yavadrani, Vidunoti Suraktatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So this is what happens when we hear. It will extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Can you think of any example who were having all this lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness, and after hearing Arjuna, right? So in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he was saying, I cannot fight, even there are some verses, Trishtvemam Swajanam Krishna, Yuyutsum Samupastitam, Sidanti Mama Gatrani, Mukham Cha Parishushati. My heart is burning, my mouth is getting dry, my, hairs are standing on end. Like that, so many things he's saying that I'm not able to do anything. There is lamentation, illusion, fearfulness. But at the end, 18.63, I believe, or 18.73, he says, Nashto moha smritir labdha, tvat prasadat mayachyuta, tirosmi gata sandeha, karishye vachanam tava. Karishye vachanam tava is whatever you tell, I will do it. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he was so despondent. He was lamenting for my relative. How can I kill my gurus? How can I kill my relatives? But at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he was so confident, and then he just got up and said, "I will fight, and I will do whatever you want me to do." And there are some examples like uh, Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, when his mother Kayadu was in Narada Muni's ashram, Narada Muni was teaching her the principles of Bhakti Yoga, and even Prahlad Maharaja was hearing from the womb itself. And when he was even 5 years old, he had so much knowledge uh, that he actually always was even preaching to his schoolmates or his classmates. He had so much knowledge at the age of 5. Even though he was born in a demonic family, he comes from Asura family, but he had so much knowledge because he heard from Narada, right? And even the example of Narada himself, if you see in his previous life, he was the son of a maidservant. And some Bhakti Vedantas who were the great devotees of the Lord, they came and they stayed there for some time. So these people were serving the Narada, who was a boy that time. He was not Narada that time. So he and his mother were serving, and he actually asked permission from them, and then he sat there and heard. So he actually heard from them, from the Bhakti Vedanta, and that's how he became Narada Muni. Now we'll discuss there are 4 steps in this hearing process that Radhesham Prabhu explains this. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and Kirtanam. Shravanam is hearing what we all are doing now. So we hear. Sorry. Shravanam is the first step where we hear, and then Mananam, which is recollecting. So we can make notes whenever someone gives a lecture. We can make notes and keep the. It's not that okay. Notes meaning we write everything that the speaker says. We can just write something most important and in some short forms. That is and then recollect whenever we get time. What all important points were discussed, and then Nididhyasanam is deeper meditation and implementation in our life. So many times what happens, we hear lecture, we go back, that's all. Our life goes on. But what did we learn? It may be many times it happens that it is in our mind, but it is not in our life. We are not implementing what we have actually heard. So this is the third step. The Nididhyasanam is deeper meditation and implementation in our life. The fourth step, when we have heard, which is Shravanam, and we have done the recollection, and we have meditated deeply and then implemented in our life, the next step is Kirtanam, which translates to 2 things. One is preaching or chanting. So this was about hearing. The next is chanting. We've been hearing about chanting, that this is the Yuga Dharma. It is said that Krishna, whenever a product is manufactured, they also release a manual, right, with that, say, washing machine or whatever, refrigerator or whatever. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamupetya Punarjanma Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. This world is labeled as two things. One is Dukhalayam, which is like Pustakalaya has Pustak, right? Like in that way, Dukhalaya has Dukha. And then Ashashvatam. This world is temporary. Why this is Dukhalayam is there are four things which nobody wants, but everybody has to go through, which are birth, death, old age, and disease. And then beyond this, there are three more miseries that we see, which is Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika. Adhyatmika is the miseries caused by one's mind. Adi Bhautika, our body also. Adi Bhautika is caused by other living entities, like other human beings, mosquitoes, all other things that we see. Adi Daivika. Adi Daivika is natural calamities, right? So it is said, that's why it is said Dukhalayam. There are so many miseries in this world. And beyond it, this is general for all the ages. And Kali Yuga has some more, what do you say, not benefits, whatever is the negative of that. In Bhagavatam, it is said 1:10, Prayena Alpayusha Sabhya, Kalavasmin Yugejana, Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Hyupadrita. In this Kali Yuga, Prayena Alpayusha. Alpayusha is less lifespan we have. So it is said that in first Yuga, Krita Yuga, or Satya Yuga, how many years people used to live? 10,000? 1 lakh. 100,000. Right? In Treta Yuga? 10,000. In Dwapara? 1,000. And now? Are people living 100? It's going down, yeah. It's still going down. So it is said that Prayena Alpayusha Sabhya Kalavasmin in this Yuga, Kalavasmin Yuge Jana Manda in this Kali Yuga, these are qualities of Kali Yuga. Manda is lazy. Sumanda is misguided. Manda Bhagya is unlucky. Hyupadrita is always disturbed. These are the qualities given specifically for Kali Yuga, apart from the things that are already said, but generally for material world. There is another verse that comes in 12th canto, 2nd chapter, 1st verse, which is Tatascha Anudinam Dharma Satyam Shaucham Kshama Daya Kalena Balina Rajan Nankshant Ayut Balam Smrti. These are the things that will go on reducing as the Kali Yuga progresses. Tatascha Anudinam Dharma. Are we seeing the decline in Dharma? Yes. Satyam Shaucham Kshama Daya. Satyam is truthfulness. Shaucham, cleanliness. Kshama, tolerance. Daya is compassion or mercy. Satyam Shaucham Kshama Daya. Kalena Balina Rajan. With the strong force of time, what is happening? Nangshanti. Meaning, it is actually declining. All these things are declining with time in this Kali Yuga. Nangshanti Ayur Balam Smriti. Ayur is lifespan. Balam is strength. And Smriti is intelligence or memory. So these are things that go on reducing. Now you might say, it is so discouraging, you are only saying negative things. So what is the solution? We'll discuss. In Bhagavatam itself again, in the next canto, now we just discussed about 12 to 1. So in 12, 3, 51 and 52, there are two verses. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum, Tretayam Ejato Makhai, Dwapare Paricharyayam, Kalaudadhari Kirtanat, Kaler Dosha Nidhai Rajan, Atyeka Mahan Gunan, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya, Mukta Sangha, Param Vraji. Therefore, in each yuga, there was a yuga dharma. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum. People used to meditate for thousands of years, 50,000 years, 60,000 years. In that way, people used to meditate to get liberation. In the Treta Yuga, people used to do yajna, elaborate yajnas they used to do. In Dwapar Yuga, Paricharyaya, which is deity worship. I heard that it is around like 8 hours of deity worship they used to do in Dwapar Yuga. And then in Kali Yuga, what is Yuga Dharma? Hari Kirtana. So that is the Yuga Dharma of this Kali Yuga. So by chanting the names of Krishna, we can get liberated, we can go beyond this material world. There is a verse from the Puranas, Gokoti Danam Grahane Kakasya Prayaga Gangodaka Kalpavasa Yagna Yutam Meru Suvarna Danam Govinda Kirtay Na Samam Shatamshe. Gokoti Danam Grahane Khagasya. Even on the day of Grahana, if you give Gokoti Danam, even if you give crores of cows in charity, Gokoti Danam Grahane Khagasya Prayag Gangodaka Kalpavasa. Even if you live at the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna and this for 15 days, Kalpavasa. Yagna Yutam Meru Suvarna Danam. Even if you give mountains of gold in charity, that is not equal to Govinda Kirtay na samam shatamshay. That is not equal to 1/100th of chanting of one time, one name of Krishna. Govinda Kirtay na samam shatamshay. All these things are not equal to 1/100th time, whatever benefit we get of that 1/100th time of chanting one name of Krishna. That is what is written in the scriptures. We see that from the Ajamila's pastime, for example, correct? He was following all the Vedic process properly, and then somehow or the other, by looking at man, woman union in a forest, he fell down from his Vedic process, and then he got attached to that lady, and then he married that lady, and then he begot 10 children, and he named his 10th son as Narayana. And when he was about to die, he just called Narayana. Actually, he was calling his son. Okay, not this way. This is like I told as if Narada Muni is calling. He said, "Oh Narayan," something like this he called. And then Lord Vishnu or Krishna, he said to Vishnu Dutas, "My devotee is calling me. You should go and actually protect him." Then they told, actually he called his sons, just in case you should still go. Krishna said. And then they went, and then there was an argument between Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas. Finally, the Vishnu Dutas stopped Yamadutas from taking Ajamila to the Yamalok. It is said in Bhagavad Gita, Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatrovaya. Even a little dharma that we do, it can actually save us from dangerous type of fears. You see, just by calling Krishna, even unintentionally, he got saved from death from Yamadutas. There is a verse in Bhagavatam, Sangetyam Parihasyam Va, Stovam Helanameva Va, Vaikunta Nama Grihanam Asheshaga Haram Vidu. Sanketyam Parihasyam Va, Stovam Helanameva Va. Meaning, even if someone is chanting Lord's name unintentionally to indicate something else, even for musical entertainment, even by joking, even for a joke, if someone remember Lord's name, Asheshaga Haram Vidu, the lot of sins get actually destroyed. The reactions to a lot of sins, mountains of sins get destroyed just by chanting, even unintentionally. One time in Bangalore, my wife and I were walking in a park. I had a bead bag in my hand, I was chanting. And then somebody came from there, and then he was going there, and he said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Meaning he was kind of mocking at me. That, okay, Hare Krishna. But I'm sure, based on this verse, he would have got so much sukriti just by chanting 2 times. Because he said Hare Krishna, 4 times he took God's name. Definitely he would have got a lot of sukriti. He'll definitely progress in that way. There is this story of Mrigari, who was a hunter, who was killing animals, the birds in half. He was half killing them, and then he was enjoying that. One time, Narada Muni was going in that path, and then he saw half-killed birds and all, and then they were suffering so much. And then he went a little further, and he saw this person. He was actually, arrowing at a bird, this Mrigari, and he stopped when he saw Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni eventually explained how much sins he's been doing by killing these birds and all. And then he said, you have to actually give up this and then start chanting God's name. He started, and then he asked, okay, if I give up this, how will I get food? He said, don't worry, that will be arranged. And eventually that was arranged. Actually, many people started visiting him, saying, okay, there was some Daku hunter, and he has changed into a saint. So we would like to see them. They went, and when they are going, they actually took a lot of food. In fact, he had extra food every day by the visitors. Later, Narada Muni, along with Parvata Muni, actually they go to this Mulgari after a long time. And then he was actually wobbling. He was walking really, really carefully when he was coming to see these sages, Narada Muni and Parvata Muni. And then when asked, why are you doing, walking so carefully, he told there are so many ants. So he's trying to move the ants and then walking so that do not get hurt or get killed. So such transformation you have seen in a person because he has chanted the names of Krishna. That's the only instruction that was given. You chant and then worship Tulsi and chant the names of Krishna. The person who was killing the birds in half and then enjoying, that person changed so much that he was not even thinking of hurting an ant. That's how the names of Krishna can do. That's how powerful they are. Let's move on to the next. We'll finish soon. Which is Martavya Smaranam, which is remembering the Lord. So Smaranam, it is like if we do our processes of hearing and chanting properly, we can automatically remember Krishna. And that is our goal. If you see Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samad bhavam yati nastyatra samshaya. We should, if we remember Krishna at the time of our death, then we go back to Krishna. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam chaittante kalevaram tam tamaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. From the pages of Bhagavad Gita 8.5 and 8.6, which says whatever consciousness that we have at the time of death, we will, get our birth accordingly in our next life. That's what it says. Can we think of any examples on this topic? The remembrance at the time of death? Bharat Maharaj. So who was thinking of the deer and then who got the body of a deer and then he took a form of Jadabharata and then he somehow remembered, but fortunately he remembered all his previous birth and he was able to do. There are many other ways to remember Krishna. Krishna says, see, even if we practically, when in day-to-day world, if you want to remember Krishna, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi, Tejas Tejas Pinamaham, Balam Balavatam Chaham. There are so many things that Krishna gives by the process of which we can actually remember Krishna. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Yajjat Vibhutimat Sattvam. Whenever you see opulent, beautiful, glorious creations in this world, just remember that it is just a spark of my splendor. Okay, we'll do everything. We'll do hearing, chanting, everything. At the end of our life, when we are dying, if we do not remember Krishna, what happens? You may ask. There is a verse from the Varaha Purana which says that Yadi Vatali Doshena Mad Bhakto Mam Nachasmare Aham Smarami Mad Bhakta Nayami Paramagati. If my devotee is unable to remember me at the time of death because of disturbances felt within the body at that time, then I shall remember my devotee and take him back to my supreme abode. The next topic, which is Nandanti. Nandanti is taking pleasure. Kanai Thakur Prabhu was explaining that Radharani is the best example for Nandanti who takes pleasure in others' bhakti. He was saying that whatever little we do, Radharani amplifies that and says to Krishna that he is the best devotee. He is even better than me. Like in this way, actually, Radharani introduces us to Lord Krishna. In the same way, we should also learn to help others, to encourage others. We should tell the other devotees, whenever someone does nice kirtan, someone does a lot of seva in kitchen, when someone gives a nice class, someone chanting nicely, or someone knows some shlokas, we should actually try to encourage, we should push them so that they actually can progress. It is said that we become, but actually we do the opposite. We become a lawyer when it is our mistake, and we become a judge when it is somebody else's mistake. Correct? What we do is, if we have done a mistake, we will say, oh, actually, this is what I did. You don't know my history, this karma, there is this, there is that. There are so many things. What do you know? I don't know. So that is a position of a lawyer. You don't know what I know. I know. When someone else does a mistake and they do something, we start judging. Oh, see, this person, oh, he's been practicing for 20 years. Oh, you see, he's not even doing this, he's not doing that. You don't know the past. But we become a lawyer for ourselves and judge for others. We should become the reverse. We should actually see what's in us and try to correct, and we should see the good in others and glorify. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam pranabanguraha. तुलयामलगेनापि न स्वर्गम न पुनर्भवम भगवत संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानाम किमुताशिषः. This human form of life is so rare to get. We have got this. And then we have all the facilities that we need to practice Krishna consciousness. So we should take advantage of the temple, of the lectures, of the books, of the instruments, kirtans, bhajans, everything, and then try to glorify others and see what fault is in us, and then try to progress in our Krishna consciousness. I'll end with last one verse. Shunvan Grinan Samsmarayamscha Chintayan Namani Rupani cha Mangalani te Kriyasu Yastva Charanaravindaya Ravishta Cheta na Bhavaya Kalpate. Even while engaged in various activities, devotees whose minds are completely absorbed at your lotus feet and who constantly hear, chant, contemplate, and cause others to remember your lotus, your transcendental names and forms are all always on the transcendental platform. And thus, they can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you see, many things are common in these verses. The verse that we read, Shinvanti, Grananti, Gayanti, but there is another word also which is samsmarayams, meaning that smaranam is remembering. Samsmarayams, it is translated as cause others to remember. It is not that we remember because others to remember Krishna. But many times it happens, forget about we causing others to remember. Many times we make others forget Krishna or make away from Krishna by our behavior. We should actually always introspect while speaking a word, while doing some action. Is it actually benefiting others? So in that way, we should see that we are doing these two things, Nandanti and Samsmarayam. Nandanti is to take pleasure when someone is doing bhakti, and Samsmarayam is causing others to remember Krishna. There are two things. And how we can take pleasure in others' bhakti or cause others to remember Krishna, the best thing that we can do, there are many ways to do. The best thing that we can do right now is our Gita marathon is coming. So overall, throughout the world, all the ISKCON temples, we distribute books. We go out and distribute books to the people in this month, in actually this month of December. So even our ISKCON Calgary is taking part of this book distribution marathon. So all of us can come together and try to do whatever we can to distribute these books. Our head of the book distribution, Shubhankar Krishna Prabhu, can help. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him. How we can actually serve by doing this Nandanti and Samsmarayan, by distributing the books, by distributing this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna. I'm speaking for the first time here. If there are any mistakes, please forgive me. If there is anything little good that you have learned today, please pray for me so that I can progress in my bhakti. Vanchakalpadalobhishta kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. How did you ask me? How was the 50 bucks? 50 bucks.